Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Maybe not. I'll rise for pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. I think the weather's getting warmer, but I'm not sure. So one of these days it will be spring. Been kind of an odd one, but anyway, so the first item we have on the agenda are the homeowners associations. And the very first one is Denise Steinman from Beaver Creek Estates. Denise, you'll have to get up to the podium though. Yeah, because otherwise they can't, if somebody joins the recording, they can't hear you. So sorry to put you on the spot there.
No, it's okay. I don't mind. A couple of things. Well, I've talked to Jeff about the wetlands if we're going to talk further. So that question should be answered. The other thing is the people in my neighborhood, we just had a meeting. They all want to know what the status is on the gas station thing that's going to be at the other end of 53.
So can you give us an update on where Quick Trip is at?
Yeah, we're currently, so they have preliminary PUD approval and they need to come back for approvals for final. So we're reviewing their final submission, which includes all the engineering plans and facade and renderings and site plans. So that's still under staff review. We're anticipating it coming to the plan commission sometime in the next 2 months.
Okay. And are there final plans that could be seen somewhere so people know exactly what it's gonna be?
Yeah, it'll be on our website with the plan commission packet.
Okay, and that's coming.
Public hearing.
The other thing I have to ask, we were all very concerned about it, and in my neighborhood, they're very up in arms about it, and a lot of them came to the meetings. And they came away feeling the same way. And so did I, quite frankly, and I had a really nice talk with Rita, and she explained some of the Buffalo Grove part and all of that, and you know, what they were trying to do and what they might have done if Long Grove didn't do this. And I just wondered why y'all didn't scream that from the rooftops, because nobody heard that at the meetings. Nobody understood. They felt like you were selling them out. And, you know, if we had to worry about getting annexed to another town and then having no control, that's understandable. It's a great reason to do it, to do what we had to do. It's a nice compromise. But I just think, you know, there's still a lot of people out there who don't understand. Maybe someone should write something up and explain why this went down the way it did. Because after we talked, it made perfect sense to me. But none of my neighbors knew that.
All right, well, thanks for that feedback. I think there was a lot written on that, but yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
And then the other issue is, I just am asking for a little bit of time to weigh in on the apiary situation when we come to that.
Oh, you want to weigh in on the apiary set?
Yeah, whenever
Situation?
it comes up in the,
Okay.
it's on the, it's on the list.
Okay,
All right.
thank
That's
you.
it. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Denise. Thanks for what you do. The next HOA is from the Glenstone HOA. Is anyone here from Glenstone? What about Long Grove Woods HOA? Okay, we'll keep ourselves moving. Public comment, I'm going to do my best to keep it within, we'll probably go a little bit over the 10 minutes, but I will note that for tonight, the board will not be discussing Lakeshore Canine. That will be discussed on the next meeting, which will be on May 26th. We will get a report from our village planner later on in the meeting, but we will not be discussing it tonight. We'll get a brief report from her. So with that, I will open it up to public comment. Benjamin Matthews.
My name is Benjamin Matthew from 4369. 4369 Oak Leaf Lane in the Oak Leaf Homeowners Association. I just have 3 really short issues. The first issue is about missing street signs along Illinois 22. This happened as a result of the tree removal operations there. And I just, I know the village did get back to me saying that they're trying to work with the state to get those signs replaced. But for example, on the corner of Stonehaven and 22, Stonehaven Drive has been missing its sign for now a couple of weeks. And I think that's a life and safety issue because we should be able to identify our streets in our village. My second issue is about Groot. My concern is in my neighborhood, they come with a pickup truck to pick up my garbage. And I brought this up before. But the issue I have is it's like an open topped pickup truck and they just throw all the trash and recycling in that same truck. And then they just speed out of there with garbage flying out of that. And I'm picking up garbage after them. And I don't find that very user friendly, unlike when it was waste management and it was a closed truck. When they would put the garbage in, it'd stay in. Now Groot is just coming by with a pickup truck that basically has some kind of machine on the back that can take the garbage, but I don't view that as good as me picking up after their garbage. And that's a real issue in my neighborhood.
Is it?
Yes.
Yours too?
Yeah, especially on a windy day, you know, that open top pickup and that stuff will just blow all over the place. And then that defeats the purpose of putting out our garbage because we're picking it up again.
So, I'm sorry, can I just get a question? So it's an actual pickup truck? That's
Yes.
an actual pickup, not their actual truck?
You're correct. Yes, it's like a Ford F-150 or F-250 with like something in the back that looks like a camper type thing, but it just doesn't have a top to it.
Okay, thank you.
Can you use the microphone? Yeah.
I think the pricing is actually states.
No, we have a contract. It's not going to impact the pricing.
Yeah, I mean, the pricing is like lower actually, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot lower, but the question is, this is new, right? Since when are they doing pickup trucks? Is that, they've been doing it all along? Okay, all right, that's new. Thank you. I didn't know that.
My other issue is, my suggestion to the village is we probably should think about investing in a village vehicle. The reason why I say that is it's my understanding that village staff, when they put up signs like for these planning commissions or whatever is coming up, they put it in their personal vehicles. Now, especially in our village where we know we have issues with ruse burglaries and those kind of things, I think having an official village vehicle with the municipal plates and our logo on the side of it will let people know in a neighborhood if a said vehicle shows up, it's official, as opposed to some, random private vehicle that people might suspect. And I also don't think it's probably a good idea to have stuff put in employees' cars. And also knowing that signs are rather large, I don't know if that's such a good idea to put it in a private vehicle. My other issue is here at village board meetings, I notice to the right of the village president, so I guess my left, it's very hard to hear people to the right of the village president. And I'm not sure if there's can be something that can be done about microphones or something, because we can barely hear them when you're in the back of the room. And my final question is, are there any updates about Illinois Route 4359, Illinois Route 22 and its special use application? Thank you.
Thank you.
Matthew, nobody's ever said that I spoke too loudly. Ever.
Well, but that's something we got to figure out as the tech here in a little bit too. We know we got some issues there on the audio. Want to answer the,
No update on 4359.
all
I
right,
thought we were going to get away with one.
all right.
Save it to last.
Who else has public comment? Do you? Go ahead. Oh, all right, go ahead. No, who's ever up first? Go. Christina? Or Angela, yeah.
4546 Kimberly Court. This is regarding the property that's actually sits adjacent to the 23160. I just have a question. I guess the county owns that property. There's a tree house. It was traditionally Jay's Camp, part of Jay's Camp, but was acquired by the county. And I was just curious what the plan is for that treehouse playground. Now that the trees are kind of less there, we see it more. My kids always knew that it was there. They went to Jay's Camp. They've actually have asked me about it, my adult children, because they're like, why is that so dilapidated and still there? So I'm just curious if there's any plans for that.
Little triangle, right?
Yeah, it's, what is that, northwest, whatever. And then there's actually some broken fences that are, so the county owns the majority of it, and I guess they, Lake County Department of Transportation.
Is that the property up there?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you're traveling on there, you could see now with the trees, there's less trees and you can see the playground. I say playground, it's a tree house. There's literally a tree in the middle of the structure. Yeah. And behind there, it's like our neighbor Olchek. I mean, it's not his. I know it's Jay's Camp because my kids went there. So I'm just curious if you guys know if what their plan is. I've actually tried to contact Lake County and they were not that helpful. So appreciate it. It's just, it's an attractive nuisance for the kids in the neighborhood. And I, really want to try to avoid any injuries of.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention. Appreciate it. Go ahead, sir. Yep.
Zach Moore, 3208. Just a question, if the village has formed an opinion or statement on flock cameras.
We have not yet. I can tell you right now that there's not enough support on the board to approve a resolution to sign up with them.
I would urge you to put in an ordinance preventing them or anything like them in the future.
Okay.
There is one that I'm aware of in Long Grove now.
Well, in the private HOAs, yes, there's several of them, but
Yeah.
on our roads, no.
Yeah, I would urge the council to put something in force to prevent that from ever going onto municipal property in the future.
Thank you for your feedback. Anybody else? Jenny?
So I just wanted to follow up. Jenny Michaud, 3222 RFD. The pickup trucks, they oftentimes go down the private roads to pick it up, and they do actually have something on the truck, like a roller that can roll over the trash, but I never see them engage it. And I don't know if you guys have walked down Robert Parker Coffin Road, which I do to walk into town. You might. I don't know if you've seen the garbage on that road. It is unreal. So they're driving off of our road. And what they do is they collect it and then they meet up with the bigger trucks and they dump it and then they go back for more. So they don't have to bring the big trucks down narrow roads. But they do have a contraption to cover it and they should just use it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Well, we're going to give the feedback, so thank you. Thanks, everyone. Okay, if there's no more public comment,
Excuse me, Mayor Bill,
yes.
is that something we may want to consider legislating, that if you're hauling waste within a municipality, you need to have it covered? I know in some other municipalities, they actually mandate it. Just a thought.
We could, but also, I mean,
Obviously, we need to fix it with crude immediately.
with crude, right? Yeah. All right. So, okay, something for thought. All right, no more comments. Then I'm going to move to, well, there is nobody from the sheriff or fire department here, so, well, that's, I'm,
Sergeants that were.
I'm sorry that they're ill, but I'm very glad they're not here. I am. I don't want to get sick, so stay home. The consent agenda. So there are a few things on here, and if anyone wants something removed, let me know. But there's the treasurer's report from March 2026, the bill warrant, pay warrant for April, the minutes from the special meeting that we did back on March 21st. There is the minutes from the regular village board meeting of April 14th. There is the application for a special event at Brothers Field. There's a graduation party that's on a Tuesday, so they would need a liquor license to do it there. There is another special event application for the annual Cigars and More for Cars benefit, the fundraiser that they do for the Special Olympics. There is a resolution to approve amending Chris Sparkman's contract, village contract is, and a bonus. And then finally, the last thing is Lake County is amending their terms with us and is requiring us to sign it for animal care, et cetera, and control. And if we don't do it, we have to find a contractor on our own. So those are the items on the agenda. Does anyone want to discuss any or have any removed, or does somebody want to make a motion to approve?
I'll second that, but I do have a question if I could.
Okay, so let's do that. So moved by trustee O'Connor, seconded by trustee Borowski. We'll stop. Do you want me to do the roll call, the roll call first, or just do the?
No, just a question of clarification, if you don't mind. So on the animal care and control contract, I guess I wasn't really aware we were doing this in the past, and I thought the wording on it was somewhat interesting, that the county will only go into a home to remove bats. Is that my understanding? Is that right? So like if an owner is getting eaten by a crazed dog, they won't do anything for us? So what happens in that case? who do we call? I mean, do we, the sheriff, and the sheriff will do what? Dispatch the dog, or like what happens?
Spraying it or dispatch.
Okay, I get it. I just thought it was like kind of a strange, very specific reason why animal care, Lake County Animal Care would actually go into a home just to remove bats. I thought it was weird. Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah, but you know, my concern's more of an emergency situation, right? All right.
So if there's anyone online, the question was why bats? Village Manager Sparkman says because of rabies.
I'm assuming that's.
Yeah. And the bats are protected. Former trustee Michaud said in the back of the room.
Thank you for the clarification, by the way. I appreciate
I
it.
actually have a follow-up question as well. Excuse me. It says here, all animals found within a municipality should be held for 24 hours and posted on village or police department social media pages before transferring the animal to Lake County Animal Control. How do we handle that? We literally have no place to put an animal.
Possible for us, so we would have to have them make an exception.
So they would have to, yeah.
Yeah, we can't keep a loss.
No.
Okay.
We're not equipped to do that.
Thank you.
All right, so that was a roll call, please.
Trustee O'Connor,
Aye.
trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee Gayton,
Aye.
trustee Jamil.
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Okay, I guess motion carried. You got everyone, right? All right, so I don't know if we're going to have a discussion on this or we need to, but we have before us the annual road paving contract. We're in year 12. And if we agree to this, we will repave 94% of our roads in 12 years. So, and if I understand correctly, the roads, it includes resurfacing Checker Road from 1711 Brookside Lane to plus or minus 500 feet west of Arlington Heights Road, resurfacing of Hampton Drive from Illinois 22 to Port Clinton Road, resurfacing of Tall Oaks Drive, Illinois Route 22 to Port Clinton Road, and installation of 2 permanent speed tables on Checker Road. Did I miss anything? So the bids came in significantly less than the engineer's probable estimate. Jeff, how much was it by 200,000 or 300,000?
Yeah, it was about 300,000 less than our final engineer's estimate, but a little closer to what the village budget has in it. So Chris, I don't know if you remember the numbers, the village budget had like what, 1.2 million in it for road construction. So a little closer, but still contract would be under the village budget.
The total is $947,554.58. So any discussion?
It leaves us money for a trail, perhaps.
We could not pave and do a trail and stuff.
No.
Oh, leaves us money for a trail. Okay, got it. Thank you. Yeah.
We budgeted more.
Yeah, so we have more money we can use it for a trail. All right, pathways. Yep.
I just have a comment. I think the board knows that, I'm not really in favor of the speed tables. And, but I also think I'll be outvoted here on that tonight. So being practical, I just like to request that we engineer those so that you could actually travel at the posted speed limit without having to eat your dashboard. So I think the temporary ones we had were under speed rated in that even if you hit them at 25, you get bounced around really well. I think these tables need to be such that people traveling the actual limit can proceed over them without getting their car rattled too much. and that we design them for people who are actually speeding in excess of the posted speed limit, who are the ones who are going to have difficulty transversing it. Is that the right word? So just hope that we could design those so that people who are obeying the law don't have to bounce their car up and down.
Jeff, do you want to respond to that?
Green is on. There you go. Should I start again?
Yes.
Okay, so we did design the speed tables with the speed limit in mind. IDOT has quite a few requirements and design parameters for that, for those very reasons. So we did do those. Yes, to your point, you know, the temporary was a little bit more of the one size fits all type thing. So we did design those. You know, there will be, you know, people needing to, there will probably be people slowing down because there's a speed table, just because there's that change in elevation, but we did take all of that into account.
Thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution for the 2026 road maintenance contract in the amount of $947,554.58.
Can I ask a question?
Sure. Moved by trustee
Jeff?
Borowski first. Yep.
Jeff, I have a question for you. What have we done with the temporary speed bumps?
They are currently stored gratis in our warehouse at GHA's offices.
Is there another road in the village on which we should use them?
I know there's been numerous requests for them.
Oakwood Road.
Long Grove Road. You know, I mean, there's easily a dozen. And what happens to the permanent ones in the winter? Is it just like in the city of Chicago where?
Yeah, like snowplow operators will be able to plow over those. You know, the temporary, you take those off because there's that lip there, and a snowplow would catch those and put them in somebody's front yard.
Right.
So we don't have those with the permanent ones.
Okay, thank you. Second.
Okay. Seconded by trustee O'Connor. So moved by trustee Borowski, seconded by trustee O'Connor. And by the way, you do have, this is your purview, right? So as far as you have oversight of the roads, right?
That's what they tell me.
So I would make a recommendation where we should put those speed bumps, but that's if I were.
I think we have an extra set and we have easily 10 or 12 roads that they would be very happy living upon.
So I would make that recommendation, but we have a motion and a second, and we need a roll call.
Trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee O'Connor,
Aye.
trustee Gayton,
Aye.
trustee Jamil,
Aye.
trustee Tanucci,
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Boy, this is one that I'm going to miss trustee O'Reilly, but the discussion of application of Reclamate. Anyways, there's a proposal to install Reclamate for $42,240.60. This is to protect the asphalt and allow it to last longer. So I don't know if there's any questions, or does somebody want to make a motion to approve?
Well moved.
Moved by trustee O'Connor,
Second.
Okay.
seconded by trustee Tanucci. That's a roll call, please.
trustee O'Connor,
Aye.
trustee Tanucci,
Aye.
trustee Borowski,
Come back to me, please. No, I'm kidding. Yes. Aye.
trustee Gayton,
Aye.
trustee Jamil,
Aye. All right, motion carried. You did that in memory of Bobby, so thank you.
I don't think we've used it long enough to know that it is doing what IDOT's experience is with it, right, Jeff? We don't have anything old enough yet to know that it's lengthening the lifespan.
Yeah, and a lot like when you were talking to Glenn Petco over at Lake Dot, that's a hard thing to see since it is over such a large period of time. All I could say is anecdotally, some of the roads that we put the reclamite on initially, which is, gosh, probably 6, 7 years ago.
Right.
Those roads are holding up very well.
Thanks.
And then the next item on the agenda is resolution or to sign and enter an agreement for a website redesign. This is with a company called Revise. Our website hasn't been updated since 2018. And I know, Rita, you were part of that back then. We discussed this in our workshop. I don't know what questions folks have. What's the total amount of that, this proposal? Do you have that? I don't see it on the agenda.
18,000 something.
That's the 3-year thing. 34,000.
What is it?
17,350.
17,350. So
That's just the implementation.
yeah. So help us.
Total after 3 years, Revise comes in at 34,720.
With the annual costs, yes.
Yeah. So that's what we would be approving tonight
We'd be approving a 5-year contract and a website redesign,
in a website redesign, and that totals again.
720 over
That was 3 years.
3 years.
Yes, in that.
Another designer. Interactive Educational Services Incorporated.
Difference between these two, why that's so much cheaper? Price?
Very basic, right, Jill? It's like similar to our website now. No, the IES.
So how many, we discussed this in the workshop. Jillian, maybe you want to, villages nearby that are using the software, off the top of your head, or it's in the note, just, log in the mic.
The Village of Glencoe and Tyndall Park are also
Everyone heard me.
villages that are using it right now.
No, I'm just going to bring it out that, so there was the discussion, about ADA.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
To a new provider for the website, what are the features in it? Like bidding processes, the bidders are gonna be there? How is there any template you can provide us?
They have many templates, so during the implementation and redesign process, they'll work with the village staff to see what we would like. They have several different designs that we can choose from, how we want things to look, from button functions all the way to how people will interact with the PDF.
So no such template is available before we approve this.
No, we don't have an official template as of right now.
We're just going out by the designs of the other villages which Revise has implemented or are taking contract from. Is that the case? How did we come to the conclusion that this is the website we want?
We came to the conclusion this was the website we wanted to use because of the price. They also had the most ADA capabilities out of all the other websites, and they were also the cheapest of the functions that we would like the website to have for our residents and contractors for building permits.
And they demoed to us what the websites would look like.
Correct, yes. And so there's several different templates or themes that we can choose. We just haven't dug into that yet.
You can find the full justification on page 72 of the board packet. It's all there.
Other questions?
I have comments about.
Please go.
I am surprised to hear that they emphasize ADA because they didn't bring it up in this 30 some odd pages. I think it's paragraph 8, ADA compliant website. Your website will adhere to the new WCAG 2.2 AA requirements in section 508. We will train your content editors how to keep ADA compliance when writing content. With your approval, Revise will also install an ADA accessibility widget free of charge. The widget brings the ADA software for reading and I can't even read this, it's so darn small, resizing text.
That's what you need.
Change color contrast on demand for the visually impaired and or disabled web visitor. Example, double click on the man icon in the lower right corner to see it in action. If you could see what I'm looking at, there's a dad, a debutante, and a what I think is maybe a son, maybe it's supposed to be a family. I clicked on the man, there's two men, nothing happens. Nothing freaking happens. It's like, okay, so I guess I don't get an example. My larger concern is widgets and overlays are not sufficient. They are a quick fix. They don't adhere to what they want us to believe they're telling us. There are people with, obviously there are blind people, there are visually impaired people, there are senior citizens, people with PTSD. The colorful panels on this website, beautiful. You know, there's lots of color, lots of excitement, lots of whatever. A lot of that is counterproductive for people who have some sort of physical disability. The widgets don't work. They will sell us, I think, a package to sign up for broken links. And if you don't use that on a daily basis, if you don't check it every day, which they say they will, okay, it doesn't happen. In 1990, 36 years ago, in the Title II and III of the American Disabilities Act, it's 36 years and we still don't have, we meaning, I'll say this village, but it's more than just us. We do not have proper composition of websites. Our previous vendor did a fabulous job with it until they didn't. And that was pretty much when one of our employees left and lost track and so on and so forth. But it's the law. 36 years, people have been waiting. They have readers. People who can't see can find their ways through all over the world with a listening device. Walk 30 feet forward, walk 20 feet left to get through airports, to get, the technology is there. These companies are not using it. A law bulletin, a recent law bulletin said that in 2024, 25% of lawsuits brought against companies on ADA issues and companies who use widgets and overlays. That's a lot of lawsuits. And there are a lot of people who bring lawsuits because they know they'll settle. And it's easy pickings. We're government, it's the law, and these are our residents. I think they've got to do a better job regarding the ADA, what they want us to believe versus what this will produce. So.
Okay, so I would ask a question, what options exist then?
Well, to the best of my, well, first of all, they have to understand, and I think they know, I think they're fully aware that the average human being doesn't know what a widget is. I don't know what a widget is. If I had to explain it to you, I would be very, very quiet. So ask me about a widget. there are companies out there who will sell you a program to check all of this for you. But these people are saying that their product is doing that, and it's not. So are we forced to have to buy yet something else to get up to speed on this? I don't know the answer to it. I know that a lot of towns believe what they're saying, and I know it's not sufficient.
Okay.
Another thing I would suggest at this time is if regarding the site, if we are going to follow through on what we have discussed regarding freshening our logos, perhaps, not reinventing the wheel, but there should be a consistency, I think, with the social media, with our stationery, the website, it should all kind of have the same logos. And it's unfortunate because it holds up the situation. I think, however, I see it as us having a duty to be sure that this is legal and it's helpful to people. Thank you.
No, thanks for your comments.
I'm done.
I'll ask, Trustee Borowski, do you have something?
Yeah, I have some comments as well. So first of all, Trustee Jamil and Trustee O'Connor, thank you for your well thought out comments. I think what I heard Trustee Jamil ask is, what are we getting for our money and how do we know it's good until we see it and decide it is or isn't? I think that's a very scary situation to spend 50 grand on or whatever the number is tonight. I think Trustee O'Connor's comments are very, very on point. I think it also speaks to a larger issue. And to me, the issue is, what do we want our website to be? Who do we want it for? How do we want to market it? How do we delineate between the website being a business generator versus being a tool for the residents who live here? So I think we need to redesign the website. I agree with that. I just think we need to slow the roll down and give staff the vision and direction for what we want the marketing to be, what we want that logo to be, what that form should take, clarify the ADA issue, because I think it is important. And then really decide who we want that website to target. And I don't know if we've done that just by saying, company, come meet with staff and you guys will figure it out. I don't think that's fair to staff. I don't think that's fair to the company, because to Rita's point, there's a lot of creative designers out there, but they need to have the leadership, the vision, and I think the board owes staff and that selected company that leadership, that vision, that motivation, because if they all come back to us and we look at it and go, well, that sucks, I think we're going to be in worse shape than we are now.
Trustee Tanucci?
I support going with Revise. Like any website, you can put or not put anything you want on there. But I've seen their websites, the 3 examples given in the board packet, plus another one I brought up during our workshop. The widget is a little person in the lower right corner of the Arlington Heights website. You click on that, it opens up a new window. It's about 40% the size of your screen, and you can pick what you need. So Trustee Borowski does raise a good point. We need to make sure that we have a website that not only looks good, it contains the content that we need. That is part of the development process. I think the question tonight is, which developer do we want to sign a contract with? And without question, Revise is the best of the choices here.
Thank you for that feedback. Trustee Gayton?
I'd probably agree more with Trustee Tanucci in the sense that if we're making a choice, I'd say it would be Revise. I would trust what the village staff is. They've spent the time to vet out the choices. So if we're going to give them the responsibility to look into this, then I'm going to support what their findings were. But that's not to say that it also what Rita and trustee Borowski and brought up with the ADA, that, yeah, it's definitely a concern. And I don't know, I'm sure it's got to be a concern with all website developers and that everyone's aware of it. I don't know how they address it, but that's something that definitely needs to be fleshed out as well.
So, all right, so let me propose something. So I know that this needs to be done by the end of the summer.
Our Civic Plus annual renewal is the end of summer and we'd be paying for another full year, August, yeah.
August, so does it make sense to, and, you know, we can either approve it tonight and have them work through things, or does it make sense to try to address some of the concerns that were brought up tonight, come back to the board, and then ask the board to approve it at that point if the concerns are addressed, or just go ahead and approve it tonight? So I guess I'll start that way. Which trustee Borowski, which would you prefer?
I prefer to defer for at least 2 weeks. And the reason I say that is if we approve it tonight, the wheels start turning. And if we haven't given proper direction, and if we all haven't shared our vision to the development team, it puts everybody in a bad situation, because it could come back to bite us when we look at their first pass, or if they have a planning meeting and the developers head off in a direction we don't want them to go in. I think it's a little premature. I think we need to fix the website. Please don't misunderstand that. I just don't know what we've given staff in terms of what we want it to look like. I just really worry about that. To me, if Bobby was here, I'd say it's time for a workshop, but I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what our marketing pitch is. I don't know how it marries with our social media pitch. I just have a lot of questions. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Tanucci?
Yeah, I'd like to approve it tonight. I don't think anything meaningful will take place between tonight and 2 weeks from now. But by approving it tonight, we do allow things to start moving, start getting the contract together, start discussions, and we'll be in a better place 2 weeks from now to ask the proper questions than we would be if we did not move forward tonight.
All right, thank you for that feedback. Trustee O'Connor?
I would like to say that I appreciate and publicly thank the people on the team. You have done. I did it 7 or 8 years ago. I know what you've been through. I appreciate it. It's pretty, it's jazzy. I looked at Glencoe and Grays Lake, see what they did. So thank you for that. I would like a conversation, not me personally, but I would like to defer it, as Chris has suggested, at least to get hold of the people that revise and put the ball in their lap to say, what are you going to do about this? This is not what you want us to believe. And what are you going to do about it? What are your suggestions? It shouldn't be our problem. It should be their problem. Those are my thoughts.
So you would like to defer and get some questions answered. Thank you. Trustee Gayton?
I'm prepared to approve it tonight. I feel that they've been given, the staff's been given the task, and they've done their due diligence. I mean, maybe we have some additional questions. I don't know how deep that they went on this ADA, but I think we're going to have the same problems with whoever else we choose, that they're still going to have to work. It's going to be a work through, I think. But that's what I feel right now.
Okay, thank you for that feedback. Trustee Jamil?
Yeah, I would defer this, as Chris mentioned. I want to see if people of Long Grove be able to browse this website and then have some transparency on all the bids and how the bids are being laid out, and multiple bids, and out of those, the next village board is going to discuss out of those. So there are a lot of issues which I would like to see at least a template And if there is a user-friendly option compared to the last website we have, I would definitely want to see more information before, I would say yes to tonight. So I would definitely defer, as Chris Borowski stated, that we need to give the pointers so that, it is user-friendly, ADA-friendly, and, we need to see a template before we go ahead and approve. So I'm for that.
Okay, so there's, basically, the majority here wants to defer. So I think the thing that village staff is going to need from you all is the feedback and the vision of what you want it to look like. Some of this stuff was given tonight, but if there's other feedback, can we get that to village staff? Yes, no, maybe?
Well, yes and no, but Sarita's question was, are we happy with the Curvy Bridge logo? Is that what we want to go with? Do we have any other options? Do we have any other choices? Is there any marketing people looking at the logo itself and the branding of Long Grove that make more sense than Swirly Bridge?
Can I ask a question on that though? Let me just, is the logo really the issue of the website? Because that can be changed at any time.
No, it's the theme of the website supporting the initiatives of the village.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to get to is,
Okay.
what's that master plan? Are we focusing on the business? Are we focusing on the quick trip? What do we want? What messaging do we want to send out with the website? And I don't know I don't know if I know what that is right now. How is this different than what we have today? Is that what we want? I'm good with it. Should we change something? Maybe, but what is it? I'm just trying to understand if that curvy bridge and the theme behind it is what we want to portray. Some of the other websites actually in the packet, if you'll notice, were not .gov examples, they were .org examples. And you have to wonder, what's the point of that? Is it to sell the village to potential residents? Is it to sell the people on businesses within the municipality? Is it to be a pure service to the residents of Long Grove? I mean, what are we trying to accomplish with the website? What are the top 3 things we want to do, and what's the priority that staff is giving to any developer? I don't know if I know that. Maybe I missed it. Maybe it was communicated. If I asked Chris, what are the top 3 things we're going to tell the developer when we sit down and talk to them in terms of what messaging we want? I'd like to know that. And maybe I'll like to agree with that or disagree with it. I don't know, but I don't know what that is right now. Public safety, what message do we want to send there? Or do we want to, I guess I'll be quiet. I've expressed my thoughts. I just wish I knew, I just hope we have very, very clear direction, because to Rita's point, I was involved in that website development before Rita jumped in and saved it. And part of the reason was that we didn't have direction to the developers. We just sat down and said, okay, make us a web page. And they're like, okay, we'll go make one. And it came back looking like crap. And that's when Rita jumped in and put her expertise and some guidance into that situation and helped to fix it. I just want to avoid that whole situation again. And to Dave's point, I'm not dismissing the value and the knowledge and the skill set of staff. I just don't feel like I've been involved in a process that has given them the board's direction and thoughts about it. Not that they're not intelligent and have their own thoughts, but the reality is Chris doesn't even live in Long Grove, right? Why don't we get a residents committee and put them on the committee and say, what do you want the website to look like? Or get some business owners together and some residents and say, what should this thing do that it's not doing today? Simple things. I don't, I'll be.
Well, let me ask Jill, if I can, about when you were looking at this and just like some of the reasons why you went down this path of we need to reinvent the website versus, renewing the contract with what we have, and what you were thinking, because you get a lot of questions from residents, et cetera. So maybe you can explain how you were thinking this was going to be used once it's all put together.
Yeah, so the reason why myself and another colleague started to want a new website is oftentimes we have a lot of residents and contractors or developers that call in and are trying to find the information on our website. And unfortunately, it's not there, or it is wrong, or it's incorrect, or it's outdated, or they are unable to click on the link because the link disappeared. And because of the system being so old compared to what's out there, it is hard for staff to update the information on a timely manner. And with the AI implementation on Google or Safari, when a resident puts in what is required for a building permit, oftentimes what the AI takes is from our website. And sometimes that information is incorrect because the staff didn't realize that a web page was still up from 2018. So that was our main thing, is making it easier and more user-friendly for our residents and contractors, because 90% of the calls we are getting is because of frustrations that residents have that they're not able to use the website. So it wasn't to make it, flashy or exciting. That's, I think, just an exciting part of it, but it's more for accessibility for our residents and also for our developers, so that people know what they're looking for. When we have people that want to go for a planning relief, for example, it is very difficult for them to find the forms, the correct forms and the steps, who to contact. Oftentimes they call a number and then that number doesn't go anywhere, or we have emails that are just there, but no one's monitoring them because they're old and they're from the early 2000s to mid 2010s. So that was really the whole goal from the staff, is we really wanted to reach our residents and make their lives easier, so that when they do call to the village, it is more of a pressing concern and we can really alleviate that, versus these frustrations that by the time they get to us, they're very frustrated with the process, and it's just not a good interaction that we want for our residents and village.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that 100%, 1,000%. And I think perhaps part of the problem is we are in a semi-website, AI culture, where I can go to ChatGPT. It may lie to me, it's up to me to parse it out. But when I have the experience all the time of, I pull up a community's website, right? Because I'm looking for the rules. And I go to the little looking glass. What is it you want to do today? Can I have horses in Long Grove? Nothing. I get nothing. Can I have chickens in Long Grove? Nothing. Who's my garbage? Nothing. So I think that that's a disconnect for a lot of people, because I can go to ChatGPT and it will give me an answer. It may lie to me, but
Yeah, it's mostly incorrect.
Going to pull from our website.
It's going to pull from our website. And so oftentimes people will come to us and say, oh, I want to do this. And then we have to tell them no. And then that just creates another conversation, and a difficult conversation, because they said that they saw us on the website, they're thinking it's true, and then it's wrong, or they submit a form that is incorrect, or they see a fee that's been outdated. And then we tell them it's actually a little bit more than they were expecting. We don't just get them from residents. We also get them from our contractors in our building permit department, as well as our planning and zoning department. So it's not just one population that is being affected by the website. It's almost all of them. Like I said, 90% of the calls is based on the website and things that people just cannot find. And the calendar as well. Oftentimes, people aren't able to find our links to our meetings, and getting to the link, and I'm sure everyone here knows, is a very difficult process when it shouldn't be. With this new revise, if you go on the calendar, you click on that link and you directly go to the Teams call, versus having to open several pages to get to the link. So it's just really making it easier for our residents. That is our first and foremost thing, is customer service. As Village Manager Sparkman says, everything is a yes, and we want to make sure that our residents and contractors can get that yes as quickly as possible.
I agree with you, the user-friendly and the residents, which you've been hearing from them about the access to the website. Apart from that, the village should also give the directions to the website on the upcoming contracts, upcoming tenders, in the bid, to have a transparent village board functioning, government functioning, and people to bid on any contract or anything which is upcoming. That direction also should be included there. That's what I would probably look into a website. So what is coming up in terms of a village giving the contract to so-and-so roads or whatever that is, the announcement section should be,
Mhm.
It's not there in the present website. And even if we have to search how the bidding process went, how many companies were bidding for a particular project, it's very hard for even the village board members to find that information. So in the bid for transparency, I would be looking for the village to give directions in that regard too, apart from the user friendly and the people having a easy access. Village should have the announcement sections also.
And the templates that they offer do have like an announcement section. They have an upcoming events section. They have all those types of things. It's just how you want it to look. There's 7 templates that the village can choose from. It's really depending on how, if from the board of how, what are some things you want? If you want an announcement page, if you want the calendar to be the main thing, we can work with the developer to work with that because the 7 templates they have that type of formatting.
So I don't know that explanation changes anything tonight, right? Or does it?
Sounds to me like we have our marching orders, at least for the initial pass. And we can start having discussions with Revise about the very things that Jill was just talking about and come back in 2 weeks and develop that even further. But if we do nothing tonight, it's just going to introduce a 2-week delay. I don't see us being anywhere 2 weeks from tonight where we aren't tonight. I don't see any progress happening in the next 2 weeks beyond what we've made in the last 10 minutes.
I would suggest you are the staff to kind of get as a template. They can easily make that template to us to see how the things are on the website before we proceed further. I think that should be the way forward.
Like providing an example with Long Grove's information on it. I think we did ask that during the preliminary review. That's not something they do, but they did show us several other examples, and I know 3 of which were in the. I could provide to the board different examples of like different templates that they have that other municipalities have. Those are just the 3 that my colleague and I use because of just the proximity to Long Grove, but there are several others that they can choose from. I think those are just one of the more popular ones because of the user friendliness.
Okay, I have 2 yeses already that want to proceed, but did anyone change their position?
No, actually, the commentary kind of supported my thought process. I think the words were, we didn't think about any flash or anything like that, rather focused on the systems themselves. So, I mean, my question is, what do we really want that page to look like? Right? Is it just functional? Okay, then it's just functional. Good. But I think we need to send some message with that. What is this village about? What are the communities of the village about? What are the residents of the village? We're not really supporting, I don't know, are we supporting businesses with this website and promoting them too? I don't know what we're doing with the website. So no, that didn't change my mind.
Okay. I don't think it changed your position either. There's some
I,
things on the
I,
ADA.
I would like, in the end, I don't care who the vendor is. I care that to me, this is a misrepresentation for ADA standards, and say, what are you going to do about that? What can you do for us to make this work for more people in a better fashion than your overlays and the widgets? So, I understand exactly what you're saying that you deal with all the time, because people, I think they try that and then call. And I have the same thing with ours when I try to find out what the rubrics are for getting a permit. It's like, just tell me what the steps are, just put it right out there. I want to look up how high a fence can I have in Long Grove. I don't even know where to go easily, quickly in, it's like, where do you find it? And then you read the our ordinances and it's in two places. It's not just in one. You got to know about the other places. So I don't even know if a website can do that or if that's expecting too much of a website. To your point, Chris. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know.
Did I hear something about a hard deadline for getting this implemented?
Can certainly wait, but we will pay another year for the current website.
That's only if we go past August, right?
If we go past August, there's an implementation period to get.
I suggest that we pause right now. We just need to figure out how we get village staff information to update the website. So I don't want to open this up to full public comment right now on the website.
Unless somebody's brilliant and has something to offer.
Possibly to be similar. Look similar in terms of so it's effortlessly.
Okay, so the people online couldn't hear that because there's the microphone there. So it was, one of the residents was providing some thoughts on how we should take into consideration and redesign the website. But I think what we have to figure out is how do we, if we need to do a workshop, we do a workshop, but how we give the village staff direction, right? There was a few things that came really clear on the ADA pieces and so forth, and a bit of the vision and how we want to use it, but I don't know that you have enough to work with right now, do you?
ADA.
Yeah, I have ADA. I would need to have more clarity, so my colleague and I can go to revise to ask if what you all would like to see can be something that can happen on the developer side. I just need more of a direction on what other items other than the ADA.
That this is a website for the residents. The business side, okay. Things in my business. I just gotta know what you want. Whatever, either pick. The village wants the residents to buy it. Gotta have an idea of what you want. That'll be the baseline scenario you have.
Thank you for that. All right, Jenny, we can, we're trying to keep everything in order.
One key component have outdated information on our. As our current website is extraordinarily cumbersome. One of those, because I had to work on the old one and it was awful. So making sure that you get a user friendly for your staff to be able to keep that of all of this, because that's how AI is going to get the right information.
Thank you for that. Keep making it usable for the staff, keeping the information up to date.
That's a good consideration.
And I think that's where, so I think that this is what's interesting. We got branding, ADA and everything else, but what I heard the reason for this was village staff can be more efficient if there was better self-service options for the residents. And it's like the biggest point there. And, in my opinion, that's a great reason to do the refresh, and other things can come along. But I still think that we should defer tonight, let people think about it more, provide feedback. If we need to do a workshop, we can. But I think that's where we should go with it.
Yeah, I would like that, and I don't understand why the next 2 weeks is, why it would be useless. The idea is to pull things together, to collate and take this and find this.
Mhm.
You know, so.
Well, I guess, if you have additional thoughts to direction, please give it to village staff. And we're going to defer this item if it's next week or the week or in 2 weeks or, going all the way into June if we have to. But let's just do that and stop here. I know we had a workshop and I guess we didn't come to a conclusion, so sorry about that. All right, we tried. Okay, everyone good with continuing? I think so. I know Ket's ready to go and Dave's ready to go. So, but let's continue it. All right. Well, so the next item is an ordinance amending an ordinance amendment to the village code regarding beekeeping and apiaries. And there is this has been discussed for a while. There's several residents and maybe even one of our trustees that has an apiary on his property or two. But we don't really allow them in our village. So I don't know. So I don't know who wants to give any more details on the resolution that's before us, or, Trustee Borowski, you seem to be the resident expert. Do you want to comment on this?
The only thing I'd like to say is, I'd like to thank, former trustee Michaud for her input to the Plan Commission. I think that was very valuable information. I think the Plan Commission and staff did a real nice job of trying to mimic the Lake County, ordinances that are in place. And I just want to remind all the trustees that any beehives that are held in the state of Illinois must be registered with the state, which is subject to a state apiary inspector. And also the apiary inspector is used as a resource to help diagnose or help residents manage and diagnose any issues that come up in the beehives themselves. I don't know about the specific numbers and where they came from. Again, the city of Chicago allows 5 beehives per city lot. Our maximum number is 3. So that would be like the most that a small lot in Long Grove could have is 3 beehives. Should it be bigger? Should it be smaller? I don't know. It's a little bit arbitrary. So I'm generally okay with the way the ordinance is written. On the high side, the maximum number per lot is 10, which is okay. But I also have a question about whether or not a larger property, like an example would be the fields of Long Grove, came back and said, we've got that big aeration field on the north end of town where we aerate our sewer system. What if we put 15 or 20 beehives up there? Or the McHugh property off Diamond Lake Road, which I think is like 120 acres, 140 acres, don't remember. You could put a whole bunch of beehives out there. But I think 3 to 10 is a good start. I think it's a good place to be. I'm all for it. And also just want to remind everybody that the federal government also regulates honey production. They basically have different rules about whether or not you produce, which basically kick in when you produce 500 pounds or more as either, a homeowner or a hobbyist. If you're below 500 pounds, they're pretty lax about how you can sell or market or give away your honey. Above 500 pounds, you go into a different set of labeling requirements where you have to, and also sealing requirements for the containers that you put the honey in. You have to put the tamper-proof seals on, nutritional labels, location of origin, that kind of thing. So it's, the system sort of self-regulates, if you will. If you're over 500 pounds, you're starting to get a little bit more serious about it. 3 beehives here in this area are going to produce maybe 75 to 100 pounds a hive, maybe. So you're ish. So you're probably in the 300-pound range. So you're really talking about a hobbyist who's in their backyard. You'll have to get, I don't know, you'll have to get up into, I don't know, 20, 30 beehives to start being more of a commercial producer, because there's also economies of scale that come into play on the equipment that you need to harvest the honey and extract the honey and things like that. So yeah, I'm very good with the way it's written. I think everybody's staff and Jennifer's input was very valuable. And overall, I think the way it's written is very good.
As I understand it, this doesn't preclude HOAs through their covenants for precluding and not allowing this if they so desire. This is just a village-wide ordinance that governs it, but HOAs have the ability to preclude this if they choose to do so. Well, let's see. Let's figure out how to best do this, right? The memo probably. Yeah, no, this is now allowing them. It defines what an apiary is and what beekeeping is. It talks about the limits that Trustee Borowski started talking about. If your lot is less than a half acre, 3 hives maximum. Larger lots, half acre to an acre, can have 4 plus a nucleus hive. Over 1 acre, 1 additional hive and 1 additional nucleus hive for each 20,000 square feet, with an absolute cap of 10 hives and 10 nucleus hives. Location and setbacks, there's side rear setback of 10 feet, front yard setback 60 feet, separation from neighboring habitual structures of 30 feet. Hives are prohibited in the right of way. There's flyaway barriers listed here. So in certain
smaller lots, there's flyaway barriers.
Yeah, so for smaller lots, less than 40,000 square feet, you need the flyaway barriers. These can be fencing walls or dense vegetation bushes. Operational and maintenance requirements. The ordinance includes several operational standards. Required on-site water sources during active months. Maintenance of non-aggressive colonies. Requirements to address aggressive hives if identified. Prohibition of unsanitary or abandoned hives. These provisions are intended to ensure responsible management and minimize nuisance concerns. State registration requirement, all apiaries must be registered annually with the Illinois Department of Agriculture with proof provided to the village upon request. An enforcement framework. The ordinance establishes authorities for the village to verify compliance. Inspection limitations consistent with legal requirements. Standard penalty provisions for violations. Importantly, the ordinance does impose daily fines unless a violation remains uncorrected after notice. The ordinance explicitly states that it does not override private covenants, deeds and restrictions that HOAs have. So those will overrule it. And the let's hold on the last part of this. Yeah, proposed ordinance represents a balanced approach that supports the environmental beneficial practices, responds to residents interested in small-scale beekeeping, establishes clear and enforceable standards, and protects neighboring properties from potential impacts. I think that kind of addresses what is in the actual resolution that the board has before them tonight to be approved.
I have a question, and I just thought of this when Trustee Borowski was talking about lot sizes. For the purpose of this ordinance, what is a lot? Is it one single PIN number? Is it what we call a zoning lot, which can be multiple PIN numbers under common ownership? What is a lot?
Individual PIN number, because if you do the multiples, you're still I see what you're saying. You could have multiple hives in each one.
Yeah. So for example, you gave the example, or somebody gave the example of the 100-acre parcel. That's probably multiple PIN numbers under one owner. So is that multiple lots or is that one lot? We have to figure that out.
Might be a Vicar Alexander question.
It's the zoning lot, so it's not.
Yeah, it's your question.
What was the answer?
Zoning.
Zoning lot.
Zoning lot. Okay, so it could be multiple PIN numbers that are adjacent to each other under one common owner. That's considered a lot. Probably need to specify that in the ordinance.
I'm breaking all the rules tonight, so please. Please. I'm not going to be able to keep order anymore.
This is Vic, if I could just address trustee Tanucci's comment. These changes are changes to the zoning code, and lot and zoning lot are interchangeable terms under our zoning code. So when we say a lot, it is a zoning lot, and it has a defined term based on a unit of property used for a single principal use and related accessory uses. So it may have a relationship to PINs, but it doesn't have to. And it may not even be aligned with subdivision lots. You might have, lot 14 in the east 20 feet of lot 15. So it's really a matter of how the use is established on the property. And that is all defined in the zoning code. And it's a zoning code that is being amended with these regulations.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
Denise, if you could keep it brief, but thank you.
I will try. Since that meeting, and initially I was like, why would we stop people from having honeybees? But I've done a lot of research and I've talked to a lot of people, and I feel quite differently now because I've learned there's a lot I didn't know. There's also a little series on called Secrets of the Bees. If anybody wants to learn more, it's quite interesting. I think it's Netflix. But anyway, they've done 2 episodes so far. Bees are not native. Bees come from Europe. They're called European honeybees. And the reason we have them, the biggest reason, is to service large monocultures. For instance, the United States produces 3/4 of the world's almonds. Most of them come from California. They have 1.5 million acres. In order to pollinate them, they bring in honeybees, and those hives come in on trailer tractors from all over the country. They stay for roughly 6-7 days to pollinate all the flowers, and then the trucks come and they take them back. A lot of them die every year. If you want to see more, watch that show. The problem is they displace our native bees. We've got 20-some thousand different species worldwide. There's 500 species of native bees in Illinois. And in this village especially, we're all about keeping our conservancy and staying as natural as possible and supporting that. And honeybees displace other bees. I can give you one example that is important to me personally, bumblebees. Bumblebees, first of all, are native here. They come out earlier in the spring and they last longer in the fall because they're more accustomed to our weather than a honeybee is. They are far superior when it comes to pollination because they have very hairy bodies. They pick up a lot of pollen. They do this buzzy thing on the flowers and they spread it. They're way better than honeybees at that job. But when we bring in honeybees take the food that our natural bees need, and all of the natural bee populations are declining because of them. Most scientists who know about this will tell you that, it's hurting all of our native bees. There's one flower called a bottle gentian. I have a picture of it if anybody'd like to see it. It's a gorgeous blue flower. It's very rare. We have them in the Cuba Marsh. We've been lucky enough to see them. The only bee that can go in and pollinate that flower is a bumblebee because it's a closed flower and he's the only one strong enough to open it up to get in there to pollinate it. It's just one example of the relationship and how tight it can be. But we don't have a lot of blue gentians. So those bumblebees need more pollen. And as we bring in more and more honeybees, we take away the food from our natural bees, which are specific to our natural plants. You know, to me, it's no different than keeping cows or keeping chickens. You keep cows for milk, you keep chickens for eggs. You keep honeybees to take their honey. And they don't make it for us, they make it for their babies, just like cows make the milk for their babies and chicken lay eggs to have babies. We take it, but that's what it is. It's their livestock, basically. And they bring in a lot more disease. And because it's a monoculture generally where they're kept, that disease spreads more and it spreads to our native bees. There's a disease out there now. I've got, and anybody wants copies, I have lots of information. A disease called IAPV, it's a virus. And that one's really insidious because typically the bees recognize a sick bee and they won't let it back into the hive. But with this virus, they don't recognize it. And so it's able to get into different hives and spread that disease. That's why they have to be registered and have to be watched, because disease is a really big problem with them. Like I said, they aren't naturally here and we don't need them. We have 20,000 types of bees worldwide, like 500 species in Illinois. We're displacing the bees that are naturally here in favor of raising bees that will give us honey. And everybody I've talked to who raises bees, that's why they raise them. You know, to say you're helping the environment isn't correct. We have tons of pollinators besides bees. We've got moths and we've got different insects that pollinate. We don't need honeybees. Honeybees are a commodity. And in Long Grove, where we don't have monocultures, where, you know, you don't have to truck bees in, we have specific bees for our specific plants. I believe those are the ones we should support. My understanding is there are some honeybees in, some of them are grandfathered, that's great. But the last thing I think we should do is be increasing it and encouraging it to the point where our native bees go away. And the native bees are what we need for our native plants.
Thanks, Denise, for your comments. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I will bring this back to the board. So Trustee Borowski, you're our resident expert. So
I'm not, thank you for your comments, by the way. I appreciate it. I think that's, I don't know the details and I trust your information is probably correct. I think Trustee O'Connor and I spoke about that, some of those same points earlier today. But on the other hand, the European honeybees that are throughout North America are already throughout North America. They're feral in the woods, they're feral in everybody's backyards already. They end up in not everybody's, but some people's roof lines and eaves and walls already. I don't expect more than 10 people in Long Grove even thinking about having bees because most people just simply don't like them. You know, they're afraid of them and don't understand them. So I don't think we can avoid European honeybees being in our backyards. They're already here, I think.
Denise, I'm gonna bring this back to the board because we had public comment and I not to cut you off, but we need to have some orderly flow here, right? So, yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay, so moved by Trustee Borowski, seconded by Trustee Jamil. That would be a roll call, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee Jamil. Trustee Gaten,
I'm gonna abstain. I don't have enough information. Resident brings up great points and I don't know if we could just dismiss it so easily, so. I abstain.
Abstain.
abstain, okay. Trustee O'Connor,
I'm gonna say no, nay.
you know,
What is the count now?
trustee Tanucci, we've got, two,
Well, the abstention is technically a yes, but yes.
What is the count?
It's 2 yeses,
Two
one
yeses
abstention and a no.
one abstain and one no.
One no.
I'm sorry, can I modify my vote?
You can.
Okay, I'm going to be a no.
2 yeses and 2 nos.
What's your vote?
So I want to acknowledge your comments. You obviously have valid and heartfelt concerns. I also echo trustee Borowski's comments. And I look to him as the expert on this and I'll vote yes.
So it's 3 yeses, 2 nos, and that means I have to break the tie. So,
Yes,
Correct.
it's two no's.
we need a fourth. We need a fourth, right?
It can change.
Dave's a no. He changed his abstention to a no. And so, there's 3, so we need my vote on this to do this. So where my head's at on this was, we have these, they're in our village today, and some of this was to bring it into compliance, right? And then to have a way to regulate it. And so by doing this, we're bringing people into compliance. Now we have a way to regulate it. And I don't think this is going to be a big situation. The HOAs will have the ability to themselves to say no. And they can amend their covenants. I would, not like to see it in my subdivision, with some of the smaller lot sizes we have. So what we're going to do is get this out to all the HOAs, but it does give the ability for those residents that, have them today or are considering them that want to do it, but I don't think it's going to be a mass scale situation. So I'm going to say yes, and motion carried. So thank you. And you're going to get this out to all the HOAs to make them aware so that they can address it. All right. This is number 17, a resolution regarding a conservancy buffer yard. A home owner in Royal Melbourne, the way their lot's situated, and some of the lots over there are a little bit maybe awkward, as I understand it, asked for relief so that they could put a pool in their backyard, and there really wasn't a lot of good spots for it. So there's a buffer to the scenic corridor, and they asked if they could build within the buffer. The Scenic Corridor Conservancy Commission, which we have a representative back here, right? At least one. I don't know if you were a no or yes, but they did vote or they did not have any concerns, right? So they said this was okay. And so what the board has before them is this request to grant relief so that they can build the pool on their property. So if I haven't articulated that properly, somebody please correct me. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. This is a legal question. If this were approved, would it set a legal precedent for similar applications that would come before the board like this one? Or could each one be legally weighed on its own merits?
Which one will be legally made? Yeah.
Okay, so we're not setting any precedents here tonight. All right, thank you.
Somebody want to make a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, moved by trustee O'Connor,
Second.
second by trustee Jamil. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's a roll call too, right? Yeah.
Trustee O'Connor,
Yes, as long as the Scenic Corridor Committee said yes, I say yes.
trustee Jamil,
Yes.
trustee Borowski,
Yes.
trustee Gayton,
Aye.
trustee Tanucci,
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Now, I am going to call upon, thank you. So hopefully that works out for you. Good luck. Good luck. Can I come over and use your pool though? Just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Sounds like a pool party.
You waited too long.
That was a joke. That was, all right. So this was we talked about this at the last meeting and wanted to amend the invasive species grant guidelines. Trustee Tanucci was the one recommending it, right? And I don't know if you want to take this a little bit further or not.
Well, this is essentially what I discussed 2 weeks ago, which is raising, here, let me just get my notes here. So raising the limit from 2,000 to 4,000. And a property is defined as a zoning lot. We talked about that just a few moments ago. So if you have multiple PIN numbers under common ownership, that's considered one zoning lot. There are some additional items added here that would cover perhaps HOA properties. Chris, I don't know if you can explain that a little more because that was added in to cover the HOA properties. Then one other thing, once you cover that.
We wanted to allow multiple people to apply under one project. So this would let either multiple property owners be part of the same project or a way like common space that covers multiple pins essentially.
So this ordinance covers all of those conditions. Also, something that was added, which I did not discuss 2 weeks ago, is the board may, upon an affirmative vote of 2/3 of the then serving board members, so if there's 6 of us, that would be 4, approve a grant that exceeds the stated $4,000 maximum amount. That was not one of my recommendations and it still isn't, but it's in the proposed ordinance.
Does anyone have questions on it?
Can you just clarify what paragraph that's in?
What paragraph?
The 4,000?
If you're on the board packet, it's page 159. It's Exhibit A, paragraph 2.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. I get it. And your point is you don't support this because?
Oh, I absolutely support everything with the exception of having a provision for exceeding the $4,000 maximum amount. But my position on that is that was not what I originally proposed. I don't like that. If a majority of the board goes along with that, that's, then so be it, but that's not something I support. I do support all the rest of it.
You want it looser or you want it more
He
strict?
wants to strike it.
He wants to not have the board be able to deviate from the $4,000 cap.
I believe 4,000 should be a hard cap. Now, if in the future we find that
Per household?
Per project, or yes. per project.
Well, that's just it. Per household or per project?
per zoning lot. So we've defined in this ordinance what a project is.
Mhm.
That's in bullet point number 1.
Yeah, it can encompass more than one zoning lot. It's designed to focus on the area that needs, the debate. It also gives the board discretion to determine whether something, a different application is actually part of the same project. So there's discretion to, combine things. Something's already been covered under a project.
Thank you.
So if I understand it, trustee Tucci, you would prefer not be included, but there wouldn't.
Yeah, what I was starting to say is I would like to raise the cap to 4,000, but that would be a hard cap. And then if we find that there are projects coming in that exceed that and we feel that maybe this exception to go above 4,000 is a good idea, then we can reconsider it along with a higher budget for the invasive species grants. Because if we're exceeding the 4,000 cap, we're going to probably blow through our budget pretty quickly. So we probably will need to raise the limit at that point as well.
But on the other hand, getting rid of teasel and buckthorn is a good thing regardless. It's the other side of the coin. The way I see it is that.
Sorry, what was the first part of what you said?
That getting rid of buckthorn or teasel anywhere is a positive thing.
Yes.
So if, I wouldn't limit the trips to the well personally. If you're getting rid of it, get rid of it because it's less that's going to blow on my property. It's just a comment. It's just a comment.
Trustee Browski, or any thoughts?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I kind of agree with Kent. I don't want to make this, kind of an infinite pot of money that's available to one particular lot owner over time. I thought the intention of this was to build awareness of all the residents on what the invasives are, to sort of motivate them a little bit, to spread this money around so that we can get a bigger group of residents involved in taking a look at their properties and trying to get rid of the invasives. I don't see this as being just a subsidy to the select few or a random few even, or the few that are smart enough to come in and apply for it. So yeah, I'm kind of all for kind of limiting the amount per lot. And I really, really want to build greater awareness so that we get more residents involved in plucking buckthorn, teasel, garlic mustard, which seems to be pervasive like crazy this year.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah. And so that's my kind of random thought. And in terms of raising the budget, I think if we raise the budget, I'd like to take a whole different approach and perspective on how to get rid of invasives within the village. Let's really raise the budget. Let's get serious about it. Let's get the town broken up into pieces, put it on a 5 or an 8 year plan. Let's ban buckthorn completely at the end of 5 or 8 years. But let's fund or support funding the chipping and disposition of all those dang buckthorn chips that residents pull out. Let's spend 100 or 200 grand a year to hire the chipper to come around the neighborhoods and chip all that crap up and do something with it. Otherwise, we're never going to get there. A couple grand here, a couple grand there. It's great. It's a first step to Rita's comment. Let's get rid of it. All for it. Helps the neighborhood. I get that. But if we're going to spend a lot more money on this, let's go all in and get rid of this frickin' buckthorn. I mean, and some of the other invasives, but we got to get rid of this crap. I mean, it used to be such a beautiful municipality to drive through. And now it's rows upon rows upon rows of buckthorn everywhere. We got to get rid of that crap. So I'll shut up.
All right, so let me ask this question, then I'm going to go down the side of the room too. So there's one phrase that was added or section was added here. And if I get this correct, it says notwithstanding anything to the contrary in this program, the village board may, upon an affirmative vote of 2/3 of the then serving village board members, approve a grant that exceeds the stated 4,000 maximum amount. If I understand correctly, you both want that section eliminated.
Correct. And everything else.
Everything else to stay. Okay, I just wanted to make it really clear.
Yes.
That's what you want to eliminate. And it's the Exhibit A, Item 2, and it's like the last paragraph that states that. So you'll see it right there, but everything else you're good with.
The last sentence of bullet point 2.
Bullet point 2, correct. Okay, so I'm going to go down this side of the room. I don't know, Rita, if you're ready or are you
I'm
ready?
fine with it.
Okay, you're fine with it either way or just,
Get rid of buckthorn, you're getting rid of bucks.
so either way, you're good with it. Okay, we got 2 that want that one sentence removed. Trustee Gayton.
I'm for it, whatever passes it, because even it says it still would have to come back to the board. So take it out, leave it in, whatever gets it passed tonight.
All right, so you're either way. Trustee Jamil.
I'm either way, but I have a question. If it exceeds 4,000, the matching also goes proportionately.
Still 50%.
So why do we want to remove specifically? Because their matching contribution is going up anyway. So anyways, it's gonna come back to the board, right? If that happens.
It would need to pass with 4 votes out of 6, but I would like there to be an understanding that there's a 4K limit. So people aren't coming and asking for large amounts. And then, now we've got a rather smallish budget. Do we give half of our budget to one person and then maybe fall short for others? And to me, it's just sloppy. I'd rather just set a limit, whatever that number is, that's the limit.
I'm okay for removing it.
You're okay either way?
Yeah, and removing as well.
All right, so this is, somebody help me or make a motion.
Okay, let me.
Name in a way
Get the
that
correct-
whatever.
And then we'll see who else says
I'd
yes.
like to make a motion to approve the resolution amending a grant program for the invasive plant species remediation. And the change in my motion is to take Exhibit A, bullet point 2, and remove the last sentence, which reads, this is being removed, reads, notwithstanding anything to the contrary in this program, the village board may, upon an affirmative vote of 2/3 of the then serving village board members, approve a grant that exceeds the stated $4,000 maximum amount. That sentence will be taken out.
Okay, moved by trustee Sanucci. Who seconded it?
I can second.
Seconded by trustee Jamil. Roll call.
Trustee Tanucci,
Aye.
trustee Jamil,
Aye.
trustee Borowski,
Aye. Aye.
trustee O'Connor,
Aye.
Okay, that was easy. Motion carried. Thank you. Or was it easy? All right, so now we have the actual grants that were delayed, right? So let's see, Ken, you were part of the committee that reviewed this. These were, what were the amounts of each one? There's two of
Well,
them.
we've got 3 grant requests. One is for $2,000, the other is for $15.19 and 55 cents, and the third is for $13.75. Had we not just passed the resolution, those amounts would have been reduced, or in one case gone to zero. But now that we've passed that resolution, all those amounts fall within the $4,000 limit over a 4-year period. So the CSCC is recommending approval of these grant amounts, and so am I.
Any questions? These were discussed in detail right at the last meeting, correct? Yeah. Somebody want to make a motion to approve them?
I'll make a motion to approve the 3 grants that I just stated.
Okay, moved by trustee Tanucci, seconded by trustee Gayton. Roll call.
Aye.
trustee Gayton,
Aye.
trustee Borowski,
Aye.
Aye.
trustee O'Connor,
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you. All right, this could be an interesting one. I think it was discovered that we really don't have any fence requirements in the village. And a dispute between 2 downtown business owners brought this to the forefront. And so I think if I understand correctly, basically Village Engineer Sparkman said, hey, if I'm going to try to solve it for the downtown, I might as well solve it for the whole village. I know a lot of the HOAs preclude fences, ours precludes them, but where they don't, there's really nothing in place. So this is really for what, discussion tonight?
Yeah.
Not for approval, but you have before you a proposed fence ordinance to amend our village code to address the fact that, we really don't have a fence ordinance yet. I guess there's some language in there about split rail fences are allowed or preferred throughout the village, but there's no way to get a permit or anything else for it, right?
Yeah, the only language for fences we currently have would apply to any property within 100 feet of a state or county highway or a village scenic corridor. And that requirement is that the fence has to be 70% open air, which is basically a split rail fence. Is what would be allowed. Everywhere else, there's no standard or requirement.
So, yeah, so I don't know if you want to discuss a little bit more about what you are proposing. I think that might be helpful to the board
Yeah,
to
so-
just frame the discussion.
I'll run through the general standards that we're proposing for discussion. The properties within 100 feet of a state or county highway or scenic corridor remain as they were previously written. And then for every other location, the general fence standards that would apply would be a maximum fence height of 6 feet. We would prohibit any barbed wire fences, electric fences, and chain link fences. There's some safety and visibility requirements, like it can't be in the village right away or in the front of a property that would obstruct, people driving their cars. The fence posts would be limited to a maximum of 6 by 6 inches and spaced no less than 8 feet apart. Requires the finished side of a fence to face outwards unless the adjacent property owners would provide written consent for an alternative arrangement. This would allow exceptions for the board for unique scenarios that would come in. They could approve. And any fence that currently exists that would violate this ordinance would have a 15-year amortization period to remedy the fence or seek relief from the village board. Clarify some enforcement language that would allow us to cite and inspect non-compliant fences or fences that were presenting safety concerns. So like Bill or President Jacob said, it would expand the village regulations from basically nothing to village-wide. Update the language and fence standards from what they currently were. Give some flexibility to the staff and board for the unique scenarios that exist, because Long Grove has many unique areas in town. It's not consistent, so there will be some need to be flexible for certain properties. And overall, the goal is to maintain the aesthetic, safety, and safety standards with it and provide clear expectations for residents and contractors that want to put a fence in. So with that, I'll open it up to questions or comments and try and answer them, or we can modify the ordinance to reflect what you guys.
Can I ask a question to the board first, though? We basically have had no problems without a fence ordinance. So question for you all is, do you think we need it?
That was my question. One of my first questions is if we've gotten this far.
We do get calls and we say there's nothing we can do in some cases. Again, I can't find it on the website.
Calls that want a fence or don't?
Calls that want a fence, which we say check with your HOA. If not, do what you want, essentially. And we have no enforcement mechanism if people aren't happy with what their neighbors. We have an active case right now we're working on that we have no way to resolve.
You know, so then the downtown creates a interesting scenario. So, you know, do you do it for that, or again, do we need it? Do we just not worry about it, right? We haven't had any problems. And then, you know, the other question I have, so Chris has already known, I have all these questions about what's this going to cost us now? You know, inspecting fences and everything else like that. And then I know there's, by the way, there's a 15-year, if you had a fence and it's non-compliant, you have 15 years per this ordinance to get it in compliance. So I do know where some chain link fences are in set subdivisions, and I won't mention them tonight, but I know because I've seen it with my own eyes. And I get into all the, like, you know, situations where you put up a split rail fence, but then you put chicken wires are wrong term, but you put a mesh on one side. I mean, do you have to go down to, is that allowed, not allowed? So where do you go with those things? And so do we get into this whole fun situation? I know, I think I saw an email from you over the weekend, Kent, about the proposed, you know, Lakeshore Canine and their vinyl fence, and is that in compliance? But I think it is because it's not excluded, it's open. But do we get into all these scenarios that we don't want to be in, or for village staff, are we helping village staff deal with questions they get, making it easier for them so that we can give more clear direction to the neighbors? And is that the better way to go? So I just throw it out to you because that's what I was thinking when I was looking at this and hearing about it.
So how does, and if I had thought of it sooner, I wouldn't have to ask the question, but how does Killdeer, Inverness, parts of Barrington, how do they handle, I know Hawthorne Woods years ago, you couldn't have a real fence, much less an arborvitae fence. You know, you couldn't create a natural fence. And it's like, well, my bushes just grew together, you know. to do. So you're right, you know, you get into all of the minutiae and it's like I've always preferred personally, you know, but I'm not here to voice my personal thoughts, that open is nice. You know, if you have a dog, you have a dog run and, you know, some people use the collars and stuff like that. Children are an issue. The safety thing, but now we've opened a can of worms, so we're gonna have to do something.
The only good thing is if I had a fence in my yard, the coyotes wouldn't be running through it all the time.
They just jump over it.
Oh, they're gonna jump over it.
HOA CCRs would overrule
Yes,
this.
yes. But we only have so many HOAs, you know, like, do we know what the total land mass is for our HOAs versus non-HOAs in the village?
No. I couldn't tell you how many fences exist either. 'Cause
No, I meant like land mass, like, let's say the village is 1,000 acres. Do we have 600 acres? Or, I guess acres, not homes, but do we have 600 acres that are HOA and 400 that aren't? Do we ever have numbers like that?
We always use a rough number, like 2/3 of the roads are HOA maintained and the other third are not. That's the only metric that I've ever come up with, but that may not answer your question.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Roads don't need fences.
Roads don't need fences. There you go. Well, and then you brought up I couldn't think of their name, and you brought up the McHugh property, right? So somewhere in there, is there a chain link fence? I bet there is. So it's non-compliant. So I was always, I know where some are because I know some of the subdivisions that have them, but then the ones that have really strict covenants, they're not there. We don't allow cases.
Yeah.
I'll add, the Village of Kildeers is very simple to understand. No fences except pool enclosures are be to constructed or erected within the village, except for pool enclosures.
Okay.
If that's what you would like, that would give us clear direction. We're just looking for some sort of.
I get it.
I don't like, actually, because there's examples within the village where some fencing is very well suited and blends into the environment. A friend of mine has lived on Schaefer Road right on Schaefer Road for 45 years. They took that little green wire mesh fence and interwove it into their white pine trees. You don't know it's there. They've completely enclosed their backyard in it. It's great to keep the dog in. You don't know it's there. It looks beautiful. It doesn't look beautiful, but you don't even know it's there. It blends right in. I will have you note that if we pass this tonight, we'll have to remove the cedar fence enclosure because it's 8 feet tall. That encloses our garbage cans. So that would be in violation, by the way. There are some homes on 83 that have come to the board in the past, right about Hilltop, that their homes are literally falling apart because of the truck vibration rambling on 83. They've come to the board before with pictures of their homes crumbling on the inside because of that shock. The village board, because of that scenic corridor, 100 feet highway rule, we basically said, no, you can't put a fence up. Well, some of those properties, guess what? They ended up putting fences up anyway without our approval, consent, and really against that particular ordinance. So the 15-year thing is interesting, but we really need to have a provision for people who have those kinds of issues. And I don't see that provision coming to the board and filing whatever filing fees they need to file. I think there's some real practical examples where fences make some sense, where they fit into the aesthetic. I can't tell you how many garden fences are out and about, and those could be anything from chicken wire to, again, those woven mesh green or black kind of fences. Even the HOAs don't allow them, but with the rabid, crazy deer population we have here, if you want a tomato, you're going to need something to keep them out of there. So I was a little bit surprised to see this on the agenda. I really, really don't want to go into the fence regulation and fence approval business because to Bill's comment earlier, I just don't see it as being a big issue. And I think our community is so diverse. There are some places where fences make absolutely no sense. Small postage stamp lots that are lawn to lawn versus, 3.5, 5 acre properties where if you put chicken wire up to put your garden in, it's perfectly fine. Nobody will see it ever. So I'm not a real big fan of regulating fences.
Stay on this side of the table, trustee Tanucci. Take it or leave it.
Sorry, I turned my mic off instead of on. Yeah, I could take it or leave it.
Right.
Either way is fine. My only comment would be, if we do have a fence ordinance, I'd like to see the definition of an unsafe fence include those fences with spikes along the top, which can impale children and wildlife. That's definitely an unsafe fence. But if we don't have an ordinance, then that's fine with me too.
Okay, going down this one.
I would like to see, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Okay, all right, it's worked thus far. I think that it's nice or would be kind to have a provision for homes, for example, that are on Route 83. When they bought their homes or built their homes, Route 83 was 2 lanes wide. And they've lost their buffer, and you got 18-wheelers right out your living room window. They should be able to have some kind of screening. It's just like, why would you not? But it is a sticky wicket, and I'd go with no fences, just no fences unless you have a swimming pool. Insurance company says, you need a fence, or your mind says, I need a fence to keep kids, blah, 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 kids, animals, blah, blah.
But that includes dog runs? It's a fence.
Okay, for example, I know used to be, and only because we used to live in Hawthorne Woods, that as long as the dog runs were screened, they were allowed, but there was a maximum space for, you can't get a Saint Bernard and put it in a 6x6 dog run. It's not gonna run anywhere. But they just said screen it from view.
So if I understand correctly, your one hand, you said if it's not broke, don't fix it. But if you were going to do something, you'd like to have an ordinance that would prohibit fences except in certain instances.
Yeah.
Okay.
Safety, safety or full enjoyment.
Okay.
On Route 83, or I live on Aptekissick.
Keep going down the row here, Mr.
Okay, I would just agree with trustee Borowski, and sometimes fences make sense, sometimes they don't. And has this really been a problem? I know you said you have a current one issue problem, but one issue problem doesn't mean we got to change everything. It seems like it's been working, so I agree. I don't want to go in the fence business either.
Okay. Trustee Jamil?
I'm okay with whatever the residents decide. So at this time, yeah, I'll go with the board.
Go with the board. Okay, so see, interesting. No one's on the fence on this one. Oh, that was
You've been waiting all night.
So I don't know where to go with this unless somebody wants to make a motion to, we can't make a motion to approve. So right now, I think it's
Why don't we table it?
table it right now. I don't know. I don't know that we have support for the ordinance as proposed though.
We'll need to make changes.
Defer, maybe. Yeah.
International Building Code requires a permit for a fence, which is an accessory structure. So we would have to have an exception not requiring a permit for any fences. If we want it, unless we want to keep the scenic corridor.
Say that again.
Building code that we just updated to requires permits for fences. Right now, we have no language on what the requirements of the permit should be,
But don't the
which is the reason for the discussion. Well, we have one provision, yes.
Yeah,
the rest of the town.
But here's the irony of that whole thing is that this was when we approved it, we were going through and trying to pick up all the things that changed, that would have been one of the things that changed. It wasn't in our other code. Didn't know it. So what was your comment?
Somebody asked if there's like somebody reviewing this for its practical implementation
Yeah.
within the village. I don't know.
There you go.
Said on the board, it was in the presentation.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to table this right now, I guess, right? I'm not sure where we're going to go with it, but we're going to table it right now.
No, we
Okay.
can prepare an ordinance making exceptions, striking that provision of the village code, international building code. That's based on the direction we're getting tonight. That would be the resulting.
The result, well, we would strike that from our new code that we just
It would be an
established.
exemption, yes.
Exemption. All right, well, maybe that's what we have to do. I don't know. Or we don't have to decide anything tonight, but is that what people would like to do?
We want a difference
what do we
between
do?
the
Split
business
the van?
districts versus residential. There's all kinds of configurations we could come up with.
Well, maybe thinking about it for the next 2 weeks might help.
Okay, let's all think about it and come back. This is the first we've had a chance to look at it, so we're gonna get back to you, Chris. Thank you for your patience on that one. And good luck with those questions in the meantime. All right, so keeping us moving along, we have a report from the village planner. As we mentioned or I started, there'll be no discussion tonight on Lakeshore Canine as they're on the agenda for the next meeting on May 26th. However, we have the village planner online.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
Karen,
Hi.
you're gonna give us a report, right?
Hi. Yes, just a quick report. Chris asked me to provide a little bit of a status update regarding Lakeshore K9. Just as a reminder, that's a special use permit that they're seeking for a final PUD, planned unit development, to allow them to construct a canine enrichment center at 23-160 North Old McHenry, which is a 8 and 1/3 acre parcel. The village board referred this to the PCZBA almost 2 years ago today, May 14th, 2024. And back in July of 2025, the village board approved both text amendments to define Canine Enrichment Center as a special use and a preliminary PUD and special use permit to authorize the proposed PUD. Since that time, the applicants have submitted a final PUD application, and PCZBA has held a public hearing that stretched over 3 meetings between February and March 5th of this year to hear public comment and deliberate. The applicant has submitted multiple changes, improvements to their operational plan and their sound mitigation and site plan at the request of the Plan Commission in their review. So on May 5th, it came up for a vote. The public hearing was closed, and there was a motion to approve the final PUD with some additional conditions, including a taller fence, a berm, and an increased frequency of dumpster service during the summer months. And that vote by the PCZBA was in favor 4-1 with 1 abstention. So that did pass. And this is coming back to the village board for consideration on May 26th. And the applicant will be present to answer questions. So that's the update on Lakeshore K9.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring to our attention? Besides
I don't-
Lakeshore Canine?
I don't think so. The agenda item did sound broader, but this was the only item that I specifically prepared, but any other questions, I'd be happy to answer.
No, not at this time. So thank you. We'll be reviewing it at the next board meeting in 2 weeks. So thank you. Thanks for your report.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We wait for this report every board meeting.
All right, here we go. All right.
One reason I come.
Karen's update was 4 minutes, so I'll try to improve on that. The village engineer's report is in the board packet. Just wanted to highlight a couple things. The village water projects, we've got both the Lake Michigan connection to Buffalo Grove and then also the Aptekissick water main extension. The Lake Michigan connection is ongoing. They've started the work at the water treatment plant. And some of the work is being slowed a little bit due to material lead times. We knew this was going to happen, but just to apprise the board. And then the Aptekissick Road water extension. We've got a pre-construction meeting with Morrow Sewer on Thursday, so I should know more about the schedule and timeframe for that after that meeting. Just wanted to highlight number 6 on the report. That's the Old McHenry Road resurfacing project. The county has started doing some paving work up north across from Kemper Ridge or the Kemper Lakes Golf Course, excuse me. And then they're going to start working south. Last I heard from them, they're going to be repaving in June-ish. So that's about all that they would commit to, but as I know more, I will certainly let the village know so that way everybody can be notified.
It'll go all the way through Long Grove?
It goes, yes, down to Cuba Road.
To Cuba?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I did drive it last weekend, so I know what you're talking about. Right up it.
Go through there during rush hour. It's a treat, in quotes. And then just the other item that I wanted to mention, New Perspective. The village has been working with their new management company and getting the trees replanted over there, new as in like a few years ago, but they did complete the replanting as they had promised, and the village forester completed a site assessment of that yesterday and reported that all but one of the trees are in good health, with that last tree just needing some pruning. So that's good progress from them. That was the highlights I had. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take those.
When you talk at another meeting about the auction, have they implemented that?
Oh, that was CL. Yep. Or CL. I don't know quite how to say it, so I apologize to them, but they have started doing their native maintenance. They completed their first treatment and selective mowing earlier this year. They've got a schedule of four treatments this year.
Any other questions? It's 10 after 9, so I'll keep us moving if we can, if there's no questions. Village president and trustee reports. I'm just going to make you aware because I found out on May 2nd, late in the afternoon, that there were 2 ribbon cuttings that were coordinated through the Lake Zurich Chamber. I got a call from Mike Oken saying, you're going to be there. And I'm like, I didn't know about it. And so that was the Olive Tap on May 3rd and Artistic Creations. So I did make it down and I made it for the ribbon cuttings. They actually had the reporters there and it was pretty crowded. So they had a successful thing, but sorry, I didn't. It was the last minute thing. We found out about it.
But do we not know about that?
I don't know. I think he organized it directly with the Lake Zurich Chamber and not through the HDLGBA, which created the confusion. So, I did, my wife was not happy, but I did make it. So we were up in Wisconsin. So anyways, was glad I was able, because I don't think Dave, the HCL, well, you're not on it anymore, right? But
Still show.
but they didn't know about it, right? No, so anyways, so lesson learned there. I think Mike knows that, so when he does his next one, which is the Seasons property or whatever it's being called, better let us know. Or let the HLGBA know. So, all right, that's my end of my report. Trustee Borowski.
We did see your photo that evening on the downtown business owners' social media feed, and your smile was very noticeable. So good to see.
Well, honestly, I was wearing jeans with a hole in them.
Yeah, I know we
and,
saw you.
Not even appropriately dressed for a ribbon cutting, because I literally came last minute from Wisconsin and I didn't bring the right clothes.
I think my point was that our social media didn't cover your picture, but rather the downtown business owners did. So that was my point I was trying to make. No report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Trustee Gayton,
No report.
trustee Jamil,
No report.
trustee O'Connor.
A report, but I'm gonna do homework on using that extra money.
Yes, there you go. I look forward to you spending it. Trustee Tanucci.
No report.
All right, village manager Sparkman. All right, we're not going to go into executive session tonight, so I'd like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by trustee O'Connor, seconded by trustee Jamil. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone. Thank you. You too.